wanted to do a quick update on the East Tennessee Mesh Network / Knoxville AREDN-Knoxville build out, the network build out. So I just, to try to make this as quick as possible, wrote out some notes here. So I'll just start from the top. One big thing we've been working on is this. Behind me is our new work vehicle. It's a 96 Suburban. I'm not going to go down the list of everything that's been done to it, but there's a ton. It's got a lift kit. Still looking for some bigger tires, but this is going to be our vehicle to get us up in the mountains, off-road, wherever we need to go. Also, it's big enough to fit everything in it. So it's an old body Suburban, OBS, I think they call it, old body style or something. Lifted, lots of upgrades, and there are still lots of upgrades to come. It'll have a new engine. I'm a motorhead, at least I used to be, and I'm going to be building a 383 stroker twin turbo. 450, 500 horsepower on the ground would be acceptable for me, but that's like a year and a half project. But the whole entire drivetrain is going to be replaced, and I've got a parts car down there. It's a 96 Tahoe, so the same year, almost identical. And already, just with all the parts I put on it, it's several $1,000s. I just kept the car for the drivetrain and didn't even think about all the sensors and modules and all these little things I ended up swapping out. I've already saved thousands of dollars by having a parts car. This thing's going to hold all the equipment. So I still haven't even vacuumed it. I've just been doing mechanical stuff. Clearance at O'Reilly's, I took a risk and they actually fit, and they're real nice. This is the Tahoe seat. You can see the color's different, gray versus tan, but it's not for show. It's an actual work vehicle. So the things we're going to have in here in the back is more than likely I'm going to put this seat down or that one, because we usually go out with 3 to 4 guys. So I don't want to just completely rule these out. And I don't want to build anything permanent so that we can't fit more people, because that's one of the benefits of us. This back is going to be full of all of our equipment so that we don't have to do all this packing and unpacking. Let me just go down the list real quick. You know, our radios, switches, computers, antennas, mounting hardware, cables, solar panels, controllers, etc. Also the tools. All the tools we need will be in here permanently. I bought the 2x4s, they're over here, but I'm going to build out frames. So all these, it's not going to be like this, but the plastic tub that I used on our previous install, they'll just be lined up. So we'll have radios, cables, everything in its separate tub. And I'm still debating, I might build one of those trays that pulls out, and you know, they're on wheels and they're about that tall. So we can pull the whole thing out, you know, put like 2 legs on the ground, and everything is exposed and we can get to it without having to reach. Still debating on that. Also, this vehicle will have a permanent node installed on it. Up here, I'm going to take this out and I'm going to build, because I like HF and 2 meter also. I'm going to rip this out and I'm going to build. I bought the computer. I'm working on getting it debloated right now, but it's going to have a permanent laptop, which I need to buy an arm that swivels so it's, you know, not blocking this person. But it's going to have a computer, and then this whole center console is going to be built to put the HF radio, the 2 meter radio, the UHF, and the AREDN stuff all permanently installed. And I'm going to put, I haven't decided what I'm going to do. I think what I'm going to do here, oh crap, yeah, and we're going to paint it too. I've already bought the Bondo, but you know, this kind of stuff, that won't be there. I haven't decided on the color, but I'm thinking coyote brown or like a Humvee, how they're tan, satin or flat. Up here somewhere, we're going to have a tilting mast, so that when we go out into the field or we have to deploy this in an emergency, or another thing, we can do a demonstration for people who are interested in AREDN. I want a tilting arm that we can put, you know, an Omni up there or something. Let me just go down the list. Yeah, like I said, it could be for an ad hoc node if we need to throw it up somewhere. If there's a gap in our network, if there's a gap in the network somewhere, we can just take this vehicle out in an emergency. It's not going to be parked permanently. The whole point of this is to maintain and install nodes. It's literally going to be like a service vehicle. All right. Okay, so that's regarding the vehicle. It's just one part of what we've been doing. We don't have a bunch of videos out because we've been busy doing other stuff, which includes we just finished up our latest node install in Jefferson County. It's out on the lake, and it's almost as far east as we're going to be going. The only thing that's going to be more east than where this node is will be English Mountain. English Mountain will be the farthest east we go in this phase of the project. Once we get up on English Mountain, that will shoot straight across all the way to Clinch Mountain and the Cumberland Plateau. Everything in between, we're already working on filling in, like Bluff Mountain, Sharps Ridge, and a couple other locations. But English Mountain will be a very strategic location, which will be, as a crow flies, maybe 10 miles east of where the node we just installed. And we put a node, IP phone, and a camera. And it has been very solid. It's tunneled in right now, but soon it will be RF. Oh, and we're going to be going out to do the solar. It's the same as the first location that we did the install. It's got solar backup. We're doing that in the next phase, and I might even bring the camera out to do that. So we're delayed on the first install. The first install, the next step was supposed to be our first agency served, the doctor phone. The tower guy has really burned us. It's going on 5 years they've been working on that tower. He doesn't communicate with us. He doesn't return emails, voicemail. He just kind of shows up with a part here and there. And note that he's, just for the record, he's been paid to do this. So my dad, who never gets angry, is very angry over this. It's so frustrating. So I've taken a step back because I'm angry about it too. Well, we've got a solution. We met a guy at Knoxville Hamfest. He's a tower guy. We're going to reach out to him. He told us right off the bat, hey, I'm a tower guy if y'all need anything. So we're going to take him up on that offer. We wanted to give the other tower guy time. Well, he's definitely established it. He's not our guy. So whatever, we're moving on. And this is a big lesson. You can't lean and depend on just one person. Oh, there's a jet going over. You cannot have a network just dependent on one person. Right now, it feels like people are dependent on me, and I don't like that. I don't want to be the person that is needed. I want everybody to know what to do because I might not be here. Or I could be a jerk like this guy who's, left my dad hanging for 5 years. Let me get back on task here. So there's a delay on that. We're going to reach out to this new tower guy and say, hey man, take a look, tell us what it needs, and we'll pay you to do it. That will be happening in the next 7 days. Oh, and another thing, I'm going to learn how to be a tower guy. If it costs a couple $1,000 to get the certification, fine. For the reason I already mentioned, I don't want to be dependent on somebody, especially somebody that's undependable. And even the best person in the world, the most dependable person in the world is still human. Things happen. And it just goes to our overall mentality of this. We don't want to be controlled by one or two people. This should be a self-sustaining system. Okay. We've added a lot of new members, not just people who have stepped up and added nodes, and we've tunneled them in. So much to the point that I've had to move up in the AREDN, it gives you 10 tunnel members. I've had to bump it up to 15. We're running into a problem. It's actually hurting my home network to where when I have to do work, which I work using internet, I have to unplug it because there's just so much traffic. It's just exceeding my bandwidth. But we're trying to get RF so we don't have to use tunnels. Yeah, we've got them in East Tennessee, Southeast Tennessee, Florida, And the interest is extremely high. We can't even keep up with the people who are saying, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do this. Which leads me back to why I don't want to be the only person that can do this. I need to recruit motivated people who will go out and just take things into their own hands and say, hey, what do I need to do? You need to do this. Watch our crappy tutorials. If that doesn't help you get started, call me, whatever, we'll get you started, and then go for it, man. Go do what I'm doing. I'm not like an authority on this. I just happen to be the guy who wanted to get it done. Well, I need more people like that. I don't want to be the only go-to guy. There are two different kinds of managers or generals, wartime and peacetime. I'm not a good peacetime. I'm not good at administration. I'm not good at disciplined type. Okay, let's stick to the plan. Let's do this administrative stuff. I'm like a shock troop, and I feel like I've done my part up to this point, but we need to recruit the peacetime generals who can administer and maintain and that kind of stuff. That I'm not suitable for that. Okay, second to last thing. This is the end of October, and at the beginning of October, just to kind of give some context of where we're at in history, Hamas attacked Israel, and I have been out of the news for 3 years. I turned it off during coronavirus because I just couldn't take any more BS. I cut the news off, and other than the things I accidentally hear from YouTube or people talking in my community, I don't know what's going on in the world, nor do I really care. Well, this Israel thing has sucked me in, so I did some catching up, and in the process of finding out what was going on over there, one of the things was, what did Hamas do when they first came into Israel? They took out comms. So I've modified our strategy here on several things, but the main thing, every node that we're going to be installing, that person is going to have an ad hoc, basically a go box. So if their home network gets taken out, if their node at their house gets taken out, I don't think Hamas is coming to blow their node up, but we have to think like this. Redundancy, which I haven't been secretive that I love redundancy. But we need to be able to have the flexibility to throw something up in a moment's notice. If the comms get taken out for whatever reason, it could be a cyber attack. The AREDN mesh network is not secured. So it's easy to target that if they know about it, which brings me to the second thing that we're going to be modifying our strategy. We're going to increase security. We're not going to be doing public recruiting. We're not going to be like super locked down, but we're going to really start to focus more on operational security. I don't want just everybody knowing about our area network. I want everybody to know about AREDN, but it's a double-edged sword. The bad guys can find out about it. So, what did I say? Yeah, we're not going to be posting the nodes that we're installing on the AREDNmesh.org website. Name the terrorist organization. Pick your favorite one. They know about AREDN. It's probably not their top priority, but it's definitely something they're aware of. Well, why do I want to give them that information? There's no benefit for me to put up our nodes on the AREDNmesh.org website. I was planning on it, but that changed with this terror attack. I'm trying to... yeah, so we're not going to be putting that stuff up there. And whatever's up there already, fine. Most of them are active. Yeah, and all nodes, everybody that's a member that comes on, that we vet, and we decide that, yeah, okay, they're trustworthy. They're going to be an asset. They're going to either buy, or we're going to give them an ad hoc radio node. I don't know exactly what we're going to do yet, but it's going to be something that they can throw in their car, go deploy it. You know, they can idle their car for a couple hours. Actually, wouldn't even need to. They draw so little power. But this recent Israel-Hamas war has changed our strategy a little bit. It's just modified it. It hadn't changed everything. So we're going to be increasing security. We're going to be exercising higher operational security. We are using Signal now. We have Signal, but we don't use it that often. But we're going to be, everything AREDN related will be over Signal now. We're not going over the top, but we're going to just take your basic measures to hey, if they have a terror attack in this country, which it's a matter of time, I don't want to just hand the enemy our playbook. So, okay, I think I've covered everything. Yeah, let me just read this. This is just my notes, but I left it out of who we're trying to recruit. We need to recruit and train competent, motivated installers. The network cannot be dependent on 1 to 2 people. It must be decentralized. Next sentence, laziness and complacency is unacceptable. And that's what I'm seeing. A lot of people are saying, oh, they're interested and they want to do this. Oh, that's so cool. What do I need to do? I point them to our website. I point them to AREDN-Mesh.org website. I point them to our videos, which again, I don't think they're good, but they can at least get you started. And then they just, oh, I have to lift a finger. No, we don't need that. We don't need more dead weight, like fat, lazy slob Americans. I'm ashamed of my country. I'm ashamed of my countrymen. One, without getting political, the reason we're in such dire straits is because of lazy and complacent men. So I don't know, if you're in the Knoxville area and you're trying to join this network and you're a bum, don't bother me. I have no time for you and no patience. If you want to come out here and put some work in and you believe in this, man, I will bend over backwards to help you. But we're not going to be just anybody who says, oh, I want to join. Cool, show me. We've given the tools. AREDN-Mesh.org has given you the tools. If you can't get at least started, we don't have time for you. This network is going up with the half dozen to a dozen people that are dependable that we already know. It's going up. So it's not like we need more lazy people. We don't. We want to be lean, mean. We want to be agile, and we want to be able to respond to what changes, like this Hamas thing. We don't want to have a bunch of bureaucracy and a bunch of lazy bums who are waiting on their vote or something. Something needs to change. We talk about it, and if we all agree, okay, let's do it. So again, I want to reiterate, we don't want complacent, lazy bums. So don't even bother contacting me or any of us. Lastly, just talk to Les. We're still on pace. We just had to change it around because of the tower guy and this. This was going to be later, but I don't think we have time. So I went ahead and bumped this up on the schedule. And I really didn't have several $1,000s to spare at the time because my personal vehicle that I drive also cost me several $1,000s. So I got hit from both sides with several thousand with this, several thousand with my other vehicle, not to mention the several thousand I've spent. I was burning through money too quickly, but it's life. We'll survive. Look, I talked to Les. We are going to move forward with the next video. I don't know if it's going to be the very next video. It might be the solar, but we're going to be showing the cheapest, easiest way to get started with AREDN for RF. It's using a DirecTV or Dish Network dish, converting it to AREDN. We're just going to do a quick tutorial on it. It's not difficult, and I say it's not difficult because I know how to do it, but it really is about the quickest, easiest way. And the reason we were doing the dish is it's got extremely far range, and everybody can scrounge up a dish. So for like 50 to 60 bucks, I haven't checked the LDF lately, but when I was buying them, it was 50 bucks. So even if it's 100 bucks now, which I doubt, that's not that bad to get started with RF. So look for that in the future. And yeah, he's going to host it because he knows this stuff probably as good or better than I do. He actually has run a network down in Florida. He still kind of runs it, but they're closing it down because all their members have moved from Florida. But he still manages it, what's left of it. So I guess be looking for that. And I'll be there because if there's something that he misses, I'll fill in the gaps. And the one thing that I'm still debating on, it's got electronic fuel injection. All this stuff runs off computers, which I don't like, because at some point the electronic part is going to fail and go out, and I'm getting barely 13 miles a gallon. Well, when I had a carburetor, I was getting 17 and 18. So I'm debating on, do I just take all the electronic crap out, throw a 4-barrel carburetor on there, And my brother-in-law, who's a mechanic, brought up a good point. He said, well, your transmission might not shift. So there's a couple things that's not really relevant to the AREDN stuff. This kind of like if somebody was curious about what I'm going to be doing with this. And then there is that very, very small chance of an EMP. But I think if there was an EMP, it's going to take out anything carbureted as well, because last thing, I'll close on this. These people that think they have anti-EMP modules on their house and their car, they're smoking dope. I don't know if it was Dr. Peter Pry, but in the 50s, the Soviets did tests on EMPs. And they're using 1950s and 40s, huge military stripped down diesel trucks. And they tested these EMPs, no electronics whatsoever. And they still fried the little bit of metal, the little bit of electrical that was on there. So people that think they have this like fancy module that was well marketed, that this is going to save you from an EMP, you're crazy. And I don't know why people don't find it's not private information. It's very public information. I heard it on a podcast several years ago, probably 7-8 years ago, about that Soviet study, or it was a study that involved the Soviets. But yeah, that's not the main thing, but it is kind of in the back of my mind, like, well, if there was an EMP, having the electrical out and having a carburetor would be beneficial, but there's still so much other that's electrical. So it's not really a factor. It's 50 parts versus 3 parts. And I get worse mileage because all the environmental stuff they've got on there. So, all right, I'm not going to go into this. It's not about the Suburban, but I want to give an update because this thing will be painted eventually. I'm going to do a little body work, you know, little dings here and there. It's not a show car. It's a work vehicle. And I mean, I love it. It drives great lifted. I thought it was going to be jerky. It's really not. And it's going to be our designated AREDN vehicle. So somebody says, hey, I want a node. When can y'all be here? 2 hours. We'll be there in 2 hours to set it up, because everything's going to be in here. Everything's going to be organized, so we can just show up and we don't have to pick up, what do we want here? What do we want? No, it's all here. We show up to the location. We're like, okay, you need a sector up there. We'll put your HAP inside. We'll run that cable, because we have about 900 feet of Ubiquiti tough cable. And nodes that are not ours, our personal ones, it's up to the person. But if we have somebody who wants to have a node up at their building, we're putting Ubiquiti tough cable. At somebody's house, like I said in the very first video I did, I don't know if you need shielded. I think it should be indoor, outdoor minimum, but I'm going off on a tangent. That's why I had this, so I can stay on track. All right, that's the latest update. It is the end of October. We're in the last week of October 2023. And be looking, we haven't forgotten. We've been working. It's just we haven't done any videos. I just wanted to keep not everybody. There are probably people who are interested, who will in the future become interested in setting up a network in their area. And if they are following our timeline, I just wanted to kind of fill in the gap because we haven't done a video in a while. All right, I don't have a fancy tagline, but I'll see you on the next one.